Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Bachelor of Science in Nursing information session. My name is Erin Ruggieri, and our session today will be presented in partnership by Jill Kerrigan, our BSN program head, and Jesse Taylor, one of our BCIT program advisors. So before we go any further, I wanted to say that the British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam. So our agenda for this session is going to be about 45 minutes long, so not too long, don't taking up too much of your time today. We'll have the welcome and introductions, which is what I'm doing right now, and then we'll have our presentation and our program overview from Jill, and then program advising will give us some information about how to apply to the program and what we need to get into this program, and then we'll have time at the end for a Q&A. But before I pass it to Jill, I am going to share a video that we have that we made about our BSN program, so you can see kind of some of the images of what it is we do. So I do have to switch my share screen here.
Hi, I'm back to check on your blood glucose levels. Being in the clinical setting really puts my skills into practice. I love that I get to apply what I learned right into the clinical setting with actual patients. Clinical experience really consolidates what we learn in terms of knowledge in our theory courses. So I chose BCIT nursing because of the reputation it's built within the healthcare practice. And I wanted to show you about my patient. Right? I love that I get to collaborate with my student nurses and really get the hands-on experience that you normally wouldn't get at other institutions.
Okay, very good. Now make sure that you
The BCIT BSN program is a 3-year program where we give students the training and experience to practice as registered nurses across BC.
the patient's pupils and look quite...
From the very beginning of our program, students will get hands-on experience in the lab and in the simulation room.
Excellent, good placement.
This is really beneficial for students as it provides students with a safe environment to practice newly learned skills before applying it to patients in the practice setting. We are very excited here at BCIT to offer a brand new curriculum that was written in-house where students learn concepts that they will be able to apply to different contexts. Rather than learning just about diabetes, they learn about the concepts around diabetes and are able to apply it.
You can see there that it's...
When our students graduate, they are 100% prepared to practice in acute care settings, in clinics, and other healthcare settings across the province. Our grads are highly sought after by our health authority partners. There is ample opportunity for them to explore whatever avenue they choose.
The best thing about my clinical experience so far is how approachable and how really caring my instructors are. They really make sure that not only are we comfortable in what we're doing, but that the patients are safe under our care as well.
Okay, so I hope that gave everyone an idea of what our program is like before I introduce Jill here. Jill, did you want me to start with the poll at this point?
That would be great, thank you.
Okay, so we do have 2 little poll questions just to kind of make this a little more interactive for you. So if you see there's 2 questions on your screen, if you scroll down on that window, you'll see the second question. So the first one is how many nurses are there in the province of BC? So if you just want to click on what you think is the right answer. And the second one is which post-secondary in BC graduates the most nurses each year? Okay, I'm going to end poll and Jill can tell us, I'll share the results, if we are correct or not.
Okay, excellent. Well, you're definitely correct with the first question. Province of BC has about 35,000 nurses. And second one, you're correct as well. BCIT does produce the most nurses. So great job, everyone. You passed your first nursing test. Okay, so welcome everyone. As Erin said, my name's Jill Kerrigan. I'm a program head in year 1 of the program. And thank you for joining today. It's great to have new people interested in the career of nursing. And I hope to answer some of your questions today so that you can make an informed decision about whether this program and this career is a good fit for you. So to start off with, and Erin, you're going to be moving the slides along. Yeah. So to start off with, what is the Bachelor of Science in Nursing? That's our first thing to answer. So to start, to answer this question, just wanted to share some quick facts about the BCIT, Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. So we can go to the next slide, Erin. So it is a 3-year program. There are 3 terms each year for a total of 9 terms. You do still get most of July and August off each term, as they're 12-week terms. And it's offered only on a full-time basis. And there's a mix of clinical, lab, simulation, and theory classes in each term. We offer a variety of clinical experiences. So we have from hospital setting, the traditional hospital setting, to community home health placements. And clinical starts in term 1. So you get a feel for what a nurse does right from term 1, and it gradually progresses each term. And what's unique about BCIT is that we partner with a specialty program on campus, and you can take 2 elective courses in the specialty that interests you as you get to the end of the program. And you do graduate with a bachelor's degree, and you can begin to work as an RN upon completing the entrance exam. Simulation of BCIT. So this is a really fantastic opportunity. BCIT has a brand new health science center, and it's the largest center in Western Canada for health science simulation. We have rooms that look like an actual hospital room, and high-tech robotic mannequins that have heart rates, they breathe, they can say certain phrases. And so it's a great opportunity for our nursing students to be able to practice in a safe space before going on to the hospital setting. And we found this really helps students to improve their confidence once they get to the hospital. What does a BCIT nursing grad look like? We have 7 attributes that we hope all of our new grads will end up with at the end of the program. And I'll just go through each one to summarize so that you know what how our program's structured. So professional nursing is a regulated profession, so students are held to a certain standard and are expected to act in a professional manner. Leader, our grads can take charge of situations in order to plan care for their clients. Advocate, our nursing students advocate for clients to ensure they are receiving quality care. Collaborator, they can work with other members of the healthcare team in a respectful manner, which is why we have quite a bit of group work in our program. Global citizen, so our grads advocate for change to address issues of social justice and healthcare equity. Lifelong learner, they're committed to continuous learning and updating their practice through self-directed learning. And then lastly, communicator. We teach our grads to communicate with empathy, with compassion, and in an assertive manner. And again, this ties into safety of our clients. So, Erin, you can go to the next one. What makes a successful BSN student? So students who are able to manage stress and anxiety effectively, also students who show resilience to overcome obstacles, they have a growth mindset. These are all things that we found both in the research and with our students to really help in terms of what helps the student succeed. Students should be effective communicators, fluent in written and spoken English. Again, this is a safety piece because nurses need to communicate with clients, families, and other healthcare providers for that safe patient care. And if you have related work or volunteer experience, especially in the hospital or home care, or you have a lifeguarding job, or you've shown leadership by participating in sports, it's not mandatory, but it certainly does help you take on the leadership role as a student nurse. And then math and science are required. You're not required to be doing complex math equations as a nurse, but you do need to do basic math to be able to safely give medications. The career outlook, it's fantastic. There's lots of nursing jobs. Nursing is both a challenging but a rewarding career. I've certainly had no regrets in my choice of choosing nursing as my profession. There's job security. There's ability to gain employment as soon as you graduate. We know there's a nursing shortage right now, upwards of 5,000 nurses that we're short. So that's why I'm saying there's certainly that opportunity to be able to work as soon as you write your entrance exam and graduate. BSN degree will allow you to work globally as a nurse. And as I said previously, BCIT has a great opportunity for students to try out a specialty in the program that they choose. And I'll go through those specialty areas in a couple slides. There's also a lot of career growth in nursing. So you could become a nurse practitioner, you could get your master's, you could even get your PhD in nursing. So what does a nurse do? A little over 50% of nurses do work in the traditional hospital setting, whether it be a medical surgical ward, an emergency room, operating room, or in critical care. But there's also lots of nurses who work in the community. So whether that's in home health or public health, mental health, or global health. And nurses can be in administration, so taking on the leadership positions in health authorities. They can teach, they can be involved in research. And the nice thing about nursing is that you can move through these as you want to grow your career. So there's lots of opportunities out there. And as I already mentioned, and I just wanted to highlight again, nurses work in a variety of specialty areas, and we have that opportunity to connect with all the specialty areas at BCIT that they have to offer. And I just wanted to go through some of these so that you could kind of see what opportunities exist. So pediatrics, those nurses who work with children. So there's regular pediatrics, there's pediatric emergency, pediatric critical care. There's perinatal, so nurses who work with moms that are giving birth. Perioperative, nurses who work in the operating room. Neonatal, these are for care of infants. Critical care, emergency, I'm probably familiar with. High acuity is similar to critical care, but the patients are not as critical and generally don't have ventilators in place to help with breathing. And then lastly, nephrology. So nurses who are helping with dialysis, caring for patients who are going through kidney transplants. And then lastly, I wanted to share this testimonial from a recent BCIT BSN grad, Jenna Lou Cook, and she wrote, "It took some time for me to decide nursing was the right fit for me, but I'm so happy about my decision. Nurses make such a difference in people's lives, and I've been able to witness the difference they make firsthand throughout this pandemic. Nurses are out there saving lives, fighting the virus, and keeping us all safe. I feel really inspired to help make a difference and validated in my decision to pursue the career of nursing. My experiences in the BSN program at BCIT have prepared me to work when I graduate and to tackle unexpected challenges that will surely come my way. I feel confident that the skills and knowledge I've acquired during my time at BCIT will serve me well when I leave." So very thankful for Jenna for leaving us with that testimonial. And hopefully I've conveyed that nursing is a very exciting career. There is lots of job opportunities and lots of room for you to grow your career as you start to develop a love of what type of nursing you like.
Great, thank you, Jill. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jesse from our program advising department. Jesse?
Thanks very much, Erin. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Jesse Taylor. I'm program advisor at BCIT, as Erin mentioned, and I'll be reviewing with you the entrance requirements and some of the admissions processes, along with just briefly discussing some of the key student services that are available to you at BCIT if you come to attend nursing or one of the other programs at the Institute. So going on to the next slide to talk specifically about nursing, which is what we're here for. So looking at the important dates or key dates specific to the program, these would be outlined on the program page, so it's definitely important to reference them and keep taking a look at them, just simply because there have been times as of late where the application deadline has been extended. So it's important to make sure that you're keeping an eye on things, and important to be aware that there are 96 seats available for each intake for the 3 intakes that are outlined on the screen within the year. And the date that you apply to does not have to impact your application, or does not have an impact on your application, I should say. So you can apply up until the application deadline. However, we do encourage applicants to proceed to apply prior to the application deadline, not to leave it to the last stage, just in case there's any chances that there's complications that arise. But also, again, as I mentioned before, making sure that you keep an eye on the website details as they are subject to change. And we'll go along to talk about some additional details specific to application steps. So filling out the application online is relatively straightforward. Of course, there's always going to be some challenges here and there, and feel free to reach out to us in program advising if you run into issues, as well as we have our admissions team as well that can try and assist with that. Once the application opens for each cycle or each intake, you can log in and review the online application process. So you can work on filling the application at your own pace, start the process, and then return to it to complete it if you have something else that you wanted to add and you weren't ready to complete it at that time. So the application doesn't actually submit to the admissions department for review until you've paid the application fee. So that would be the final step in the process. And again, the date that you applied doesn't impact your application, as far as, someone that's applied prior to you isn't going to be favored versus your application if it comes in later. And again, you'll have until the application deadline to submit your application. So keeping those dates in mind. Sometimes they do fall on the weekends, so it's important to note that you'd have until the next business day to be able to submit your application. And further to the application process, the first part of the process will be to review all the entrance requirements. And making sure that, again, the processing dates are intact and you're ready to proceed. Proceed with upgrading if it's necessary. So if there's something that's shy of the minimum academics that are outlined, to make sure that you look into the upgrading process early ahead of time, or assessment testing, which could be an option as well. For certain aspects, and certainly further to that, you can always reach out to us in program advising to get more direction specific to the application process and being competitive as a nursing applicant. And then once you proceed with the application process and you've got all the documents in place, you want to be able to submit those transcripts, make sure that they're ready in a PDF file format, and you can go to bcit.ca. On the homepage, there's actually a apply to a full-time program link, so you can proceed through that. There's also an apply now button on the program page for nursing. And you go through that step by step and submit the application, pay the $90 application fee, and go from there. The admissions department will need some time to process the application initially, and then they will be directed to the department for those that have had complete applications submitted for their review, and then they'll take some time as well and get back to you in a timely manner. We'll go on to the next slide. to talk about entrance requirements further. So again, test and course options for basic academics, speaking and listening as well, are available. So those testing options can be found if you click into the read more link on the program page, listed generally just below the requirements. So that's a helpful link to click into if you need to do upgrading or assessment testing. Please do note that typically basic academics from secondary schooling, such as chemistry, if you didn't happen to meet the minimum requirement from chemistry 11, typically a valid mark from chemistry 12 would be accepted. However, we do not typically offer individual upgrading courses for certain subjects, such as chemistry 11. So that's important to note. You'll find in our upgrading section that there will be details specific to upgrading through adult education or through the school board, where that individual course may not be available. Post-secondary subjects can also be used in place of high school academics, so that's important to note. You might use a 3-credit chemistry course where you have a valid mark there, and perhaps your high school mark is either less or it doesn't meet the minimum. So that's important to note as well, and that's addressed within the equivalency section within the read more link on the program page. Out of province and international courses can also be used. There might be a greater need to have you provide a course syllabus for reference in advance or to the admissions department for their reference. So just please note that. As well, an ICES or International Credential Evaluation is not always required. However, if you do want to utilize education that was accomplished in the international setting, then on the program page, there is an outline detail specific to how to proceed if you want to use those credits towards the academic foundation requirements. So important to make sure that you've read the full set of details on the program page before you proceed or make an inquiry with us in program advising. Moving on to the next slide to talk about the non-academic entrance requirements. So there's a mandatory applicant questionnaire on the program page. It is important to note that it's ideal to type directly into the form. If you do cut and paste from another document, the boxes are a limited amount of text that can be placed into them, as well as potentially just with formatting within that document compared to copying and pasting it from another. It may not simply proceed appropriately. So it is best usually to type the details in. And what the selection committee from the nursing department is typically looking for are things like relevant work experience. And it's important to note it doesn't have to be health related. So it could be from a customer service experience, serving experience, etc. Lifeguarding might be helpful. So they do want to see that your people care and interactions have been a part of your work experience. So that's certainly ideal. As well, where possible, if you have leadership roles or teaching skills, that can also be helpful. And demonstration that you could work with all types of people. So different backgrounds, different age groups, those are all ideal situations. There's also a Casper test that's outlined on the website. So this test would utilize everyday scenarios, be it a moral dilemma would be presented to you potentially as a test taker. So there's no specifically right or wrong answer. However, there's more ideal answers, I'll say. So there's certain scenarios that are certain answers that will be more ideal to answering that scenario. That'll be more favorable from the selection committee. So you can't necessarily study for the test. So it's not knowledge-based specifically. However, there is, I believe, if you contact Casper, an ability to proceed with a sample type of assessment. So you may want to reach out to them as an external organization. So that sample test can be accessed by contacting them directly. They would have their information for contact on their website. And there's definitely a lot of information on the website for Casper in general, just to help you prepare for the exam. So take some time to review that information and proceed appropriately. Carrying forward to the next slide to talk about transcripts and documents. So as mentioned, part of the online application, you will need to upload documents for a timely assessment to be completed. And so you can download official digital transcripts where they're available to you, or you can convert your transcripts that you have a paper copy of into PDF files. Some people will take photos that'll show a legible detail, or if you have access to a scanner, should scan directly to a PDF file in most cases. Information on how to convert the documents is available on our website. So example, you can scan, take a picture and convert it to a PDF, as I mentioned, and those details can be found through that link on the homepage, apply to a full-time program. I believe they do reference that specifically. And then once you upload all of your documents, make sure that you've not missed any. That'll help to minimize any delays in the application process. So definitely important. The application period for the nursing program isn't the longest time frame, so it's important to make sure that you're prepared in advance. Going on to the next slide to talk about admissions processes further. So again, you must upload PDF official transcripts, just in case we haven't clarified that enough already. But once you've applied, your application will be reviewed by the admissions department initially, and you want to make sure you fulfill all of the entrance requirements. So the initial processing can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. If you meet the requirements, then your application is forwarded to the nursing department for the further review, and they'll use a rubric to sort out or shortlist the strongest candidates. So there's a number of different factors that they're going to take a look at. And a final decision would be made based on all the documents and tests that you've submitted. So it is an overall application process, a review and assessment. Within the nursing department, that process can take up to 2 months, or roughly 2 months. And so it's important to be aware of that, to be patient once you've proceeded. Again, because the admissions department does still need to take some time before the documents are going to be directed to the department. And if you have specific questions regarding the process, do feel free to make contact with us in program advising. You can contact us by calling us or emailing us, as well as we do have a couple of services, virtual drop-in as well as in-person drop-in that are available. And we'll reference that in a future slide. In the next slide, I want to talk about some of the support service departments that are available as well. So moving away from the academics, I want to let you know that BCIT is committed to supporting students in a holistic sense. We want you to succeed not only academically, but also outside of school as well. So some of the student services that are available to you as a prospective student, and others will be available to you once you become an enrolled student at BCIT. So here are some of the important student supports that I want to mention to you. One of them being, if you happen to be of an Indigenous background, BCIT's Indigenous Initiatives Department is there for you to ensure a smooth transition into your first year. They do offer peer-to-peer mentorship, a welcoming and gathering place, and provide clarification on Indigenous funding. As well, BCIT awards, scholarships, and bursaries are listed on our Financial Aid and Awards webpage. I'd like to mention that we do have a President's Interest Award. It's a little bit more specific usually to recent high school graduates, which is a little bit less common for the nursing program, but it might be something worthwhile looking into, as well as the many other options that they do have available. So definitely reach out and look into those options, whether you're looking at simply student loans or potentially the bursaries that may come along with that process, or again, other awards and scholarships that you might be entitled to. BCIT is committed to providing assistance to students with permanent or temporary disabilities. If you have been accepted into a program and believe that you may need accommodation to be successful, then I would definitely encourage you to connect with our Accessibility Services Department to get that extra support. As well, BCIT has a Student Health Services Department, so a health clinic that's located at the Burnaby campus where the nursing program takes place, and they do provide medical care for current BCIT students year-round. We also have counseling and student development. They're available to enhance your educational performance and maximize your success as a student at BCIT. Provide tips on, stress relief, ways that you might be able to focus on study skills and things of that nature. And finally, our Recreation Services Department promotes, encourages, and enables the practice of physical well-being. We consider recreation an integral part of campus life and welcome students to enjoy the services that are available within that area. So it is definitely important to take that time to get away from the academic setting, do something that'll help, relieve some stress or allow you to increase your wellness, as in the classroom setting is not 100% everything that we want you to experience. So take that time to get out of that classroom setting. Finally, the next slide, we're going to have you connect with us in program advising. I do encourage people to take a look at the bcit.ca/advising website, as our services do have a tendency to change throughout the year. However, you can call us by contacting the main phone number on the website to the main office. So 604-434-1610 would be the main line. There's different times that you can connect with us in the department. So right now, I believe we're doing phone calls on Monday mornings as well as Thursday mornings and Friday mornings, sorry. However, you can also reach out to us by email if it's not something that's super urgent. And oftentimes we'll encourage students to email us where we might need a syllabus specific to a course that you're trying to clarify. So that's important. Or otherwise connect with us virtually or in person through the drop-in process that's outlined. And if we go on to the next slide, which should be one of the last slides here. Just wanted to make sure that I encourage people to take a look at the different options that are available through social media. The BCIT Health Sciences Department has a lot of great content that's available on the different platforms. So that would be your opportunity to learn more about BCIT, the specific field of nursing, and other aspects of the Institute in general. There's a lot of great stories from students as well that are being shared on there. And that'll just be another means to assist you in making a well-informed decision about the specific career that you want to proceed with or the specific program. And with that, I believe we can carry forward to the next slide to reference questions and answers. I'm not sure how much has been covered while I've been chatting away here. Sorry, Erin.
Thank you, Jesse. That was a lot of information. So I realize that we may have given you a lot of information very quickly. You will have noticed when you first signed into this meeting that it is being recorded. That is because in about a week or so, we will be sending everybody who registered for this session and all of you a copy of that video recording, link to where we'll have on YouTube, and also a copy of this slide deck. So if you do feel like we went over anything too quickly or it was a lot of information, you didn't get everything down, don't worry about it. You will have a copy of the recording to review, and you will also have a copy of the slide deck. And of course, you can definitely contact program advising after this meeting and any time in the process of creating your application. So I'm going to have some time for questions here. There's one question from Muskan Judge that Jill, I know, would like to answer out loud. Jill, are you there?
Yeah, so the question was, it was how often do BCIT grads get a job? And I just wanted to answer that as a group because it's fantastic that our students in preceptorship are even getting job offers before they even graduate. So there's lots of opportunities out there for nurses to work. Yeah, definitely our grads are all getting jobs. And again, if there was a question about specialty as well, and whether the two courses you take is that its own little specialty on its own, do you get a specialty certificate? You can work towards that. It goes towards that specialty certificate. But again, with the nursing as it is right now, some of our new grads are working in those specialty areas right when they graduate, if they've done their preceptorship in those specialty areas. So I wanted to answer those two.
Is there a waiting list? We can answer that one live. No, BCIT, the BSN program does not carry a waiting list. So if you get accepted, you are in. If you aren't accepted by the time that the classes start, you will have to reapply. We don't carry a waiting list that goes forward to future intakes. So if you don't get accepted, you would have to reapply. Another good one. Jill, I see you're typing that one, but did you want to answer that out loud about where in the country BCIT nursing grads can work?
Yes, so you can work across Canada. What you will need to do is apply to each province that you're working into because even though the exam is the same Canada-wide, licensing is done per province. So your once you graduate and you write your exam, you can work anywhere in Canada. You just have to register in that province.
And we have had the students go to, or graduates go to other provinces and into the US, but because we have a nursing shortage here, we'd really love it if you could stay. Lorene, I wonder if you want to unmute and add anything in. I know you have been working on the admissions side of this for many years, so you might have some extra tips that we didn't cover. Lorene, if there's anything you wanted to add in, you could certainly do that.
All right.
Okay. Oh.
Sorry, I've been engrossed in typing answers. Was there something specific that you would like me to touch on?
I just know that you are one of our main experts here in the nursing program because you've been with admissions and doing admissions work for such a long time. So is there anything that you want to add in that we might not have covered today?
Not particularly, but I do know that I just finished answering a question about if an applicant has not been successful in previous intakes and getting a seat, can they reapply, and does it affect their application for future intakes? And no, there isn't. It doesn't affect your application, but do try to improve your application or your file. If there's something more that you could do to improve it from the previous time or times that you have applied, that always looks good. We do understand that poor grades in the past cannot be erased from your transcript. And so maybe trying to retake some of those courses if that is a concern for you. But no, just always try to improve your file for the next time.
Yeah.
And yeah, applications across Canada are down for nursing as well as all health programs and probably most programs at BCIT. So we are always interested in people reapplying to the program, and good luck. Yeah, because there's lots of seats available across Canada now.
Yes, now is the best time to get into nursing. Yeah. Really, it's just there's so many shortages. There's so many openings. There's so many opportunities for growth in the career and for getting your foot in the door. So definitely a great time to apply for nursing. I also wanted to say there was a question on here that I know Jill typed an answer to, and it was, what is the average age of a nursing student at BCIT? Now, I think the average is somewhere in the early 20s, right? Yes, Lorene's nodding at me. Yeah. But I want to point out that we have had students start this program at 50, at 51. Mm-hmm. We have had students of all ages. So please don't feel like if you've been out of school for a bit and you're going to redo some of your courses to meet some prerequisites. Please don't feel like you're too old to start this program. If that's where that question is coming from, or where it's coming from. We do take a wide range of students, different ages, different experiences. And the wonderful thing is, if you're a little bit older, you can bring all kinds of life experience to your nursing practice and your nursing studies. So it's wonderful to have you here.
Erin, I just wanted to jump in really quickly. One of the questions that I had was specific to an individual that was, I believe they'd completed an LPN program, and they were talking about transfer credits towards the nursing program at BCIT. And I did mention to them that the nursing program at BCIT does not admit direct entry applicants through an advanced placement process. So every applicant, regardless of their background, is expected to complete the full 3-year program, as well as prove all of the minimum requirements that are outlined on the program page and go through the selection process to be accepted into the program. So there is a process for comparable courses where a student gets accepted to the program for individual courses that the department could consider. So where a student has a comparable class for instance, one of the liberal courses, an ethics course or otherwise, then they could submit a course credit exemption form. However, they have to first gain acceptance to the program before they submit those documents for comparable courses. So.
Lorraine, I noticed you didn't answer the question about Casper, but would you like to talk about that out loud here?
Yep. I just said I'll answer.
Yes.
I answered one and then I got another one. And
yes, so there might be more people I'm wondering about the Casper.
yeah, so I don't think that the next round of Casper dates has been released on their website yet. I know that just 2 weeks ago, I was working via email with them to determine what the next dates are after July 27th. So there is one that's posted for July 27th. And that's the last one I know about. They'll probably, if you go in and you see last year's dates, they're probably very, very close to what they're going to be like for the next round. But I don't think it's been posted yet. So I hope that answers it. But the last one that I know about is July 27th. So make sure that if you do have to take Casper, that you go on and register and get in there before that date, because you can't do it then. You have to do it a few days beforehand. And then if you are not planning to apply for the next go around, make sure that you wait until after September to take the test.
That's a good point. Yes, the test is not valid. How long is the test valid for once you've taken it?
It's valid for a year, but the cycle is September 1st through August 31st. So this last test will expire August 31st.
Great, so it's only valid for one school year.
Yes. And that's Casper rules, not our rules.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Lorena, would you mind talking about the courses that students need to take before they come to BCIT? And I believe there's a document on our webpage, is there not, that kind of lists equivalent courses at different schools?
Yeah, there's all sorts of things on the BSN website. So just make sure that you go in and read all of that. General education, you need 6 credits in different categories. So you can go and see there's 4 or 5 different columns there, all sorts of different courses that you can take, not specific courses, but certainly, anthropology and sociology, things like that. Is that what you meant, Erin?
That is what I meant, yes. Okay.
Yeah. And that we will not look at your application if you have not completed all of your prerequisite courses before the application deadline. So we don't accept midterm marks in order to look at an application and offer seats. You have to finish the course and we have to see the mark before we will offer seats.
At this point, I don't see too many new questions coming in, so I'm just going to kind of wrap things up. So as you can see on your screen, program_advising at bcit.ca. I know there's going to be questions you're going to have after this session, or questions that we didn't quite get to, or more information that you want. You're going to want to go on Program Advising's website, either contact them by email address here, or by phone, or I know they have those Zoom sessions. Let's go back to this slide here. So definitely, you're going to want to get in contact with Program Advising. They can help you with all of your questions, figuring out how to make your application the most competitive it can be. And I just want to encourage everybody to really look at nursing as a great career option. I know I grew up with a very narrow idea of nursing. And if I had known all the different options within nursing, I might have considered it as a career path for myself instead of going into marketing, because I just had no idea all the things that were out there within nursing. It's not just med-surg, it's not just bedside. There's a lot of different options, and you can change your career as you go and keep learning. So it's a wonderful area to go into right now. Thank you everybody for coming today, and we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us and learn about the BCIT nursing program. Thank you.